Imagine it's Halloween night. The streets are alive with flickering jack-o'-lanterns and the echo of children's laughter. But beneath the costumes and candy, there's something else, a dark, unsettling energy. You feel it, don't you? That creeping sensation down your spine, as if something is watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. What if, hidden in the shadows, something far more sinister than you could ever imagine was about to unfold? Tonight, we venture into 3 disturbing true Halloween horror stories. Real events that turned a night of playful fright into a living nightmare. These aren't just tales to spook you. They're chilling reminders that the horrors of Halloween can be terrifyingly real. Our first story takes us back to a quiet neighborhood in Kansas City, Missouri, in 1974. It was Halloween night, and the streets were filled with children dressed as their favorite characters, their bags quickly filling up with candy. Among them was 8-year-old Timothy O'Brien, out trick-or-treating with his sister, father, and a group of family friends. What seemed like a night of innocent fun would soon take a tragic and horrifying turn. Timothy's father, Ronald Clark O'Brien, had joined the children as they went door to door, collecting sweets from the neighbors. Everything appeared normal. Just another father spending time with his kids on Halloween. But as they returned home and Timothy excitedly examined his candy haul, one piece stood out, a giant pixie sticks, the kind that every kid hopes to get. Ronald offered it to his son, and without hesitation, Timothy tore it open and swallowed a few mouthfuls of the sugary powder. Within minutes, Timothy began to feel sick. He complained of a sharp pain in his stomach, and soon he was vomiting violently. His parents rushed him to the hospital, but by the time they arrived, it was too late. Little Timothy was dead, and no one could understand why, until the chilling truth came to light. Ronald O'Brien had laced the pixie sticks with cyanide, intending to kill his own son. His motive? A life insurance policy. Ronald had taken out multiple policies on his children, hoping to cash in on their deaths. But in a sick attempt to cover his tracks, he had also handed out poisoned candy to other children in the neighborhood, though thankfully, none of them ate it. At first, the community was horrified, thinking a stranger had targeted children on Halloween. Panic spread like wildfire, and parents everywhere began checking every piece of candy for signs of tampering. But soon, investigators uncovered the horrifying truth. This was no random act. It was the calculated and cold-blooded plan of a father willing to sacrifice his own child for money. Ronald Clark O'Brien was arrested, convicted of murder, and sentenced to death. He became known as the Halloween Killer, a name that still haunts parents who think twice about the safety of their children's Halloween candy. What should have been a night of joy and excitement turned into a tragedy, leaving an entire community shaken and forever wary of the dangers that can hide in the most unexpected places. Our next story takes us to the bustling city of Los Angeles on Halloween night, 2004. The air was filled with excitement as people flooded the streets in elaborate costumes, ready for a night of celebration. Among them was a group of friends gathered at a house party, eager to enjoy the festive spirit. The hosts had transformed their home into a Halloween wonderland. Jack-o'-lanterns lit the entrance, spider webs clung to the corners, and eerie music played in the background. It was the perfect setting for a night of fun and laughter. But this party, meant to be a joyous gathering, would soon spiral into a nightmare of unimaginable horror. The house, located in South Los Angeles, became the epicenter of a brutal and tragic event. Unknown to the partygoers, the home had been targeted by a local gang. The gang members believed the party was being held by a rival group, a deadly misunderstanding that would cost several lives. As the night progressed, The guests danced and mingled, unaware of the terror approaching. Just before midnight, the front door was kicked open, and several armed men stormed into the house. At first, many of the partygoers thought it was a Halloween prank. After all, costumes and fake weapons were everywhere. But the mood shifted quickly when the first gunshots rang out. Panic erupted as people scrambled for cover, some diving behind furniture, others rushing for the exits. The sound of gunfire echoed through the house, piercing the Halloween decorations with terrifying violence. The party that had once been filled with laughter was now a scene of chaos and bloodshed. 5 people were shot dead that night, their bodies left in the wake of senseless violence. Several others were critically injured as they tried to escape the gunman's fury. What had begun as a fun-filled Halloween celebration turned into a massacre that left the entire community in shock. The gang members, realizing they had attacked innocent partygoers, fled the scene, but the damage was already done. Families were torn apart, and the neighborhood was left to grapple with the horror of what had just occurred. Police arrived shortly after the massacre, finding the once festive home in shambles. Blood-stained floors, bullet-riddled walls, and discarded Halloween decorations, adding a disturbing contrast to the tragedy. In the aftermath, the city mourned the loss of innocent lives. Vigils were held for the victims, and the families demanded justice. The police launched an extensive investigation, eventually apprehending the suspects involved in the attack. But the scars of that Halloween night remained. The Halloween Massacre of 2004 is a chilling reminder of how quickly joy can turn to terror. A night that was supposed to be filled with celebration was instead marred by violence and death. For those who survived, the memories of that horrific night continue to haunt them. And for the families of the victims, Halloween has never been the same. Our final story takes us across the Atlantic to Nottingham, England, on Halloween night in 1979. This tale doesn't involve murder or violence, but it is no less disturbing, because what happened that night remains unexplained to this day. Wollaton Park, an old and beautiful estate known for its serene surroundings and historic architecture, became the site of an eerie paranormal event. On that Halloween night, a group of children was out playing near the park, enjoying the cool autumn air and the last moments of trick-or-treating. The park, with its grand manor house looming in the background and the quiet rustle of leaves underfoot, seemed like the perfect setting for innocent fun. But something strange was about to unfold. As the children laughed and ran along the paths, they suddenly spotted something that made them stop in their tracks. Emerging from the fog that clung to the edges of the park, they saw a group of small figures riding bicycles. These weren't ordinary children, though. They appeared to be dressed in old-fashioned clothing, as if from a different era. Tweed caps, waistcoats, and long skirts, the kind of attire that hadn't been worn for decades. The bicycles, too, looked antique, their large wheels and wooden frames belonging to a time long past. The figures didn't speak, didn't make a sound. They moved silently, as if they were floating above the ground, rather than pedaling. Their faces were pale and expressionless, their eyes dark and hollow, giving off an unsettling aura. The children, confused and scared, watched in silence as the figures rode past them and disappeared into the mist, fading as quickly as they had appeared. Panicked, the children ran home, breathless and trembling. They immediately told their parents about the ghostly figures they had seen. At first, the story was dismissed as Halloween jitters, children letting their imaginations run wild after a night of spooky stories and candy. But the details were so specific, and the fear in the children's eyes so real, that it became harder to brush off. Soon, other witnesses came forward. locals who had been near the park that night and had seen the same thing. Their stories matched the children's exactly. Small, ghostly figures on bicycles, moving in eerie silence through the park. Word of the strange sightings spread quickly, and Wollaton Park became the subject of intense interest. Paranormal investigators were called in to examine the area, and local historians even dug through old records, hoping to find an explanation for the ghostly apparitions. No clear answers were found, but the story of the Wollaton Park ghosts became a local legend. What makes this story truly unsettling is the number of witnesses and the consistency of their accounts. How could so many people see the same thing, yet no logical explanation could ever be found? The apparitions were never seen again after that night, adding to the mystery. Whether it was a collective hallucination, a strange prank, or something truly supernatural, the ghost of Wollaton Park remains one of England's most chilling and enduring Halloween mysteries. To this day, the park, beautiful and peaceful by day, has a reputation for being haunted, especially on Halloween night. Many still visit the park on Halloween, hoping to catch a glimpse of the eerie figures riding silently through the mist. As we've seen tonight, Halloween is a time when the line between fun and fear, between life and death, can blur in unexpected and terrifying ways. From a father's betrayal to a bloody massacre, to an unexplained paranormal event, these stories remind us that sometimes the real horror isn't in the costumes or the decorations, but in the events that truly happen. As you go out this Halloween, remember, not every scare is harmless. Stay alert. Whether it's the candy in your bag, the parties you attend, or even the quiet walk through a park, danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. If these stories spooked you, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest terrifying tales. Stay safe out there, and remember, sometimes the most frightening monsters are the ones you never see coming.